Did you know that private consumption constitutes at least 50 to 60% of the expenditure side of the GDP? Yes, you and I, as consumers of products that Indian companies produce, play a major role in determining economic growth, as well as sales, profits, and earnings growth for companies. With this year being an election year, a lot of SOPs are expected for consumption in the voter account or the interim budget. Before we go to what's in store for all of us, let's rewind a little bit and see how consumption has fared in the last 1 or 2 years. All of us are aware of the disruptions that moves such as demonetization and the GST transition brought to India Inc. as well as to our own pockets. The disruptions led to very little growth in sales, profits and earnings for India Inc. as well as very little money in our hands. Take Hindustan Unilever, a bellwether FMCG company for instance. This company recorded just a flat volume growth in the June 2017 quarter because of very little demand from consumers. Companies such as Dabur fared even worse, Marico even worse. But this situation started turning around after the June quarter of 2017. Demand slowly started coming back from the September 2017 quarter for all FMCG companies as well as auto and consumer durable companies. Auto sector went on to record a 14% volume growth in 2017-18 after the initial hiccups due to demonetization and GST. Ditto with FMCG, where every company started seeing double-digit volume growth. This trend continued into the first 2 quarters of this year, this fiscal 2018-19 as well. Into 2018-19, fresh headwinds for consumption started coming up. For one, interest rates which were benign the previous year slowly started inching up, impacting big ticket purchases such as consumer durables and auto. Secondly, rural demand, which was in full throttle in the previous year, started showing some signs of slowing down. This was because agricultural prices went downhill and farmers' income was affected. Thirdly, rising oil prices impacted auto buyers. Rising crude oil prices meant that petrol and diesel became extremely expensive, forbidding auto buyers and making them postpone their purchases. A liquidity crunch with finance companies also affected lending for big ticket purchases such as consumer durables and auto. This is reflected in the private final consumption expenditure figures of the GDP. This metric grew at 8.5% in the first quarter of 2018-19, that is in the June quarter. The growth came down to 7% year-on-year in the September 2018 quarter. Auto sales also started showing signs of slowing down. After growing at a double-digit 14% in 2017-18, auto sales for April-December 2018 came down to a 9.2%. Two-wheeler makers such as Hero MotoCorp have been facing rough weather due to the coming down of rural demand. However, the silver lining so far in consumption in this year has been that items which consume a smaller share of the consumer's wallet have not been affected. FMCG companies continue to see double-digit volume growth even in the December quarter. So, considering a situation where auto and consumer durable sales have come down drastically, whereas FMCG sales still continue to grow, what does the budget have to boost consumption. Number one, it could put more income in the hands of the consumer in the form of tax SOPs. Being an election year, a rise in the basic exemption limit for income tax is a widely expected move. Currently, for individuals, the basic exemption limit stands at 2.5 lakh and for seniors it stands at 3 lakhs. A second move that is expected to put more money in the hands of the consumers is a rise in the ATC exemption limit, which currently stands at rupees 1.5 lakhs. Finally, with rural India reeling under a crash in farm prices and rural demand taking a very deep hit, much is expected in the budget to boost rural consumption. SOPs to rural India can take two forms. What is expected is an income support scheme for farmers on the lines of what is currently being offered by the Madhya Pradesh and the Telangana governments. A direct transfer of benefits scheme for farmers is also on the cards. So this year, being an election year, the budget can surely be expected to be consumer friendly. Looking forward to Budget 2019, the last one of the current BJP government.